We back. Got that Danger Close Mod B auto guide. I'm a little late on this guide, but I've been busy with work this last week. Now this guide is just showcasing the minimum score, though you can add modifiers to the team to get a higher score. I've included 3 teams, one Asigmaless, one with Sigma, and then a free-to-play farmable team. With counters minus 15 HP per second and basically banned, this might be a little rough for some of you, unless you're a soldier or mech main. Let's go ahead and check out the runs. For our first team, we're running without Asigma here. This boss can definitely be done without her, though she probably is the best DPS you get. But we can sit here and substitute with a bunch of soldiers, Jane, Ifrit. Of course, we have regular Sigma for the DP gain here, as well as roll advantage damage that we get off of her. I believe mathematically it worked out to be 14 or 16% damage increased overall. So we'll take that for what we can. And you know, Soyun comes in, does her special, and then dies, but she did her job, so we're good. Gear-wise, I'm just running blaze sets and Shadow Hall gear with ranger damage, anti-ground. Here's a team with Asigma. As you can see, not a terrible lot has changed. We swapped out Ironside for Revenant for the support. Asigma is our main DPS and tank, so we want to get her out as soon as possible. Sigma's still here for the DP gain. Ifrit for second DPS, Taras for Death Break, Jane Doe for more DPS, and we're just trying to burn the boss down as quick as possible here. And of course, all you need is Asigma. The rest of them are just here to support her. So for gear-wise, Blaze, again, Shadow Hall gear, any anti-ranger damage, anti-ground damage is going to be what's best. And as you can see, that boss's HP bar is just going down. Especially with the Sigma ulti here. With a, what is it? It's a 5 modifier on each hit. So 15 total since it's a 3 hit. The boss didn't even get to walk but 2 steps. As we can see from the damage here, Asigma OP. Alright, as you can see, this team here is either fully farmable or easy to attain units. Now you might say Titan's not easy to attain, but Titan is on the selector tickets you get when you first start the game. So I assume most people probably have Titan. Rearming Titan is recommended here, and a very strong unit to have if you haven't rearmed already. Admin Rifleman is here for the damage, as well as for your Kamhana proc for the extra DP. There really isn't a farmable DP generator that can be used this DC. You can sit there and say Choina, but I didn't really have good success with her, so I didn't include her in this. Now, first thing you'll notice is I turned off ×2. Come to find out, ×2 actually lowers your DPS. You can actually see this if you take the 1 unit into the time attack and do the time attack with it on and do it off with it off, and you'll notice that when you have it on and you're on ×2, you actually do less damage. And right now, we're kind of struggling for damage here, so we definitely have it turned off. Also, this boss has 3,000 evasion, so that's an 80% chance to evade your attacks. And we kind of locked out of our ability to reduce that to 0 to be able to get Surefire on this boss. So you may have to do this run a couple of times if you use this team, just on the fact that you're going to miss a ton. As I say that and we crit every hit, I'd love that on a normal run, but you'll notice there's a fair amount of missing here. Chain Reactor might actually help here. I don't have it built, but it might actually be good. So let's talk about gear. Pretty much works the same for almost all the teams here that we use. So for your front line, you're going to want to sit there and have HP with ground res, crit res as well. Except if you're using Asigma. Asigma doesn't actually need tank stats. Maybe a line of ground res depending on which modifiers you're doing. But other than that, you go full damage on Asigma. Either CDR, Spirit, Blaze, or attack speed. Our Titan, as you saw, for this run, I kind of just threw whatever had anti-ground damage on it. No real sets, but you're going to want his EE if you use our Titan. You're going to want his EE as well as much anti-ranger, anti-ground as you can fit on there. And even if you have to break the set to use his EE, do that because the EE is that important. Same for Administrator Rifle and pretty much all DPS. You're just going to want to fit, because the boss is a ranger, so you're going to want to fit anti-ranger subsets and anti-ground. And anti-mech if you actually have rolled any of that on any of your other gear, or you can use your PvP gear. Alkalites, you want as much attack speed as possible on him because he heals every time he shoots. For as long as he lasts, if you use him. For Ironside and Revenant, you're going to want to run CDR tank set if you can afford it. CDR Maze works just as well, or as much CDR as you can on those two. Jane, again, DPS, so we go with the Shadow Hall gear. I should make a note about this, about Smite gear. Smite gear, as much as people have said bad things about it, is actually really good. It's very comparable to Maze. I'm not saying it's as good or better, but it's comparable if you do not have Maze gear, and this gear is easier to roll anti-ranger on. You see I have Shadow Hall gear on Terminators as well. Tarask is interesting. So Tarask, you can sit there and run damage subs on it, but again, the higher your mods you go, you might consider running tank on him. He doesn't actually do a terrible lot of DPS, but his debuff is super important. So we want him surviving as long as possible. And a lot of times he ends up tanking mine, which a shield will sit there and take care of. But once that shield's gone, he's basically paper and just gets smacked up by the boss. Soyun will only last 6 seconds. You kind of want some kind of attack speed gear on her, just so that she deploys faster and she uses her special a lot quicker, because you're on a very limited time frame with her. You might also consider running her on tank gear if you can. because a lot of the times on auto she deploys into a mine if you're not careful, depending on TUs and where you have her in deployments. So I would recommend ground res on her, just in the fact that she can hit the mine and still walk up and use her special. For the ship, obviously is going to be New Detroit, where we want that 50% damage break, as well as we're fielding a lot of strikers because that's what's good against rangers, and we want to sit there and power them up as much as possible. Kimhana is the operator you want to use, though the skill haste proc isn't as wonderful. That +1 DP is, it's really hard not to have that. A lot of changes have to be made for that, but the team should work even without the +1 DP. So even if you don't have a good side skill, or if you want to sit there and experiment with a different side skill that you have on a different operator, go for it. But if you do use Kimhana, A speed or crit damage is the side skill you want. Roll advantage does actually somewhat help here, but it's not better than attack speed or crit damage. Something to keep in mind. Thanks for watching. I hope this guide helps you. Remember that Danger Close is 3 weeks long, so if you don't feel you have the gear right now, you still have time to farm for it. As always, feel free to leave a comment or catch me on Discord. Link will be in the description. If you want to support this channel, you can find a link in the description. All help is appreciated. And I'll see you all next time.